The void stretched endlessly, dotted with pinpricks of cold light, stars that bore silent witness to humanity's darkest hour. Earth's last fleet floated in this unforgiving expanse, dwarfed by the Vorok armada. These alien invaders, monstrous in both size and efficiency, had systematically dismantled humanity's defenses over decades. No weapon, no strategy, no plea for mercy had deterred them. Now, the remains of humanity's once mighty forces were huddled together, a ragtag assembly of battle-scarred ships, their hulls patched with desperation and resolve. Each vessel represented the last stand of a species teetering on extinction. They were outgunned, outnumbered, and running out of time. The Vorok loomed like gods of destruction. Their massive ships, dark and angular, pulsated with eerie blue energy. No one fully understood their technology, only that it was centuries ahead of humanity's best efforts. Their strength lay in their unity, their precision, and their cold, emotionless pursuit of victory. The fleet moved as one, guided by a hive mind powered by quantum-linked AI. They were flawless, and they knew it. Humanity was just another species in a long line of conquered worlds. Admiral Kusanagi, the de facto leader of the human fleet, stared grimly at the tactical display in her flagship's war room. The holographic map painted a stark picture. The Vorok formation was closing in, a vast net tightening around the human fleet. There would be no escape. Her officers murmured softly, their voices tinged with the despair they tried to suppress. They all knew the odds. They had run the simulations. None ended in humanity's survival. But Kusanagi had one last card to play, a gamble so reckless that even her closest advisors questioned it. In the center of the fleet, hidden within a heavily shielded corvette, was the Singularity Key. The device, no larger than a fighter craft, was humanity's Hail Mary. No one but the highest-ranking officers knew exactly what it did. Rumors had spread, though. Some whispered it was a weapon of mass destruction, capable of annihilating entire fleets. Others believed it was a decoy, a bluff meant to buy time. The truth was more complex and infinitely riskier. The Singularity Key wasn't a weapon in the traditional sense, it was a disruption tool. Designed by a team of rogue scientists and hackers, it exploited a flaw in the Vorok's quantum-linked AI network. If activated, it could send a cascading signal through the Vorok fleet, severing their connections and plunging them into chaos. The catch? It had to be deployed at the heart of the enemy formation. A single ship had been tasked with this mission, the Starfire, a stealth corvette piloted by Captain Dax Malone. Malone, a seasoned officer with a reputation for pulling off impossible missions, had volunteered without hesitation. As the countdown to deployment ticked away, he sat alone in his cockpit, running a final systems check. The Starfire was a marvel of human ingenuity, fast, agile, and nearly invisible to enemy sensors. But even it couldn't guarantee success. In the war room, Kusanagi's voice cut through the tense silence. This is it. If we fail today, humanity's story ends here. Her words were met with grim nods. No one needed reminding of what was at stake. Every ship in the fleet carried thousands of lives, soldiers, engineers, civilians. There was no retreat, no fallback plan. A comm channel opened, and Malone's voice came through, calm and steady. Starfire is ready for launch.
See you on the other side.
The line went dead before anyone could respond. Kusanagi's jaw tightened, and she gave the order, deploy the key. The Starfire slipped silently out of formation, a shadow against the abyss. Humanity held its breath. The Singularity Key's wave rippled outward, an invisible storm of disruption unraveling the Vorok's precision. Their network, once seamless and absolute, fractured at its core. Ships that had moved with an almost predatory grace now wobbled and spun erratically. Engines flared and sputtered, lights flickered wildly, and targeting arrays swung aimlessly. On board the Vorok vessels, the biomechanical hybrids, their organic forms embedded deep within their war machines, experienced chaos in a way they never had before. Their minds, linked to the hive network, screamed in confusion as the connection shattered. They were designed for perfect synchronization, not autonomy. Without the hive mind, they were stranded in their individual thoughts, paralyzed by the sudden onslaught of alien emotions, fear, uncertainty, panic. From the human fleet's perspective, the transformation was breathtaking. Where moments ago the Vorok fleet had been a single, unified entity, it was now a chaotic maelstrom. Ships collided, their trajectories uncontrolled. Massive vessels unleashed devastating weaponry, not on humanity, but on each other, mistaking allies for threats. Explosions lit up the void, debris scattering like fireworks across the battlefield. Admiral Kusunagi's orders came sharp and clear over the comms. Focus fire on the largest clusters. Prioritize targets with active weapon systems. Keep moving. We don't give them a chance to recover. The human fleet surged, their battered ships moving with newfound purpose. The flagship's bridge erupted in cheers as one of the largest Vorok destroyers exploded, its massive form consumed by a cascade of internal detonations. For once, it wasn't a desperate, Pyrrhic victory. They were gaining ground. Each destroyed Vorok ship wasn't just a tactical win, it was a symbol of humanity's resilience, proof that the invincible could fall. Meanwhile, the starfire weaved through the debris field, its systems screaming warnings. Malone ignored them, his focus razor-sharp. His escape trajectory was filled with risks, stray blasts from Vorok weapons, exploding debris, and the occasional Vorok ship that still managed a feeble pursuit. But he trusted his instincts and his ship, pushing the engines to their limit. He watched the scene unfolding behind him through the rear display. The Vorok fleet, once a masterpiece of destructive coordination, was dissolving into a graveyard of drifting hulks and fiery wreckage. Yet Malone felt no joy, only grim satisfaction. This was humanity's shot, and they couldn't afford to falter. The Vorok flagship remained a looming threat. Though crippled, it still radiated power, its central core glowing with unstable energy. Kusunagi, watching from the tactical display, made the call. Concentrate fire on the flagship. Bring it down. The human fleet converged, pouring everything they had into the dying beast. Missiles streaked through the void, railgun slugs punched through its armor, and plasma beams carved into its hull. The Vorok flagship resisted with stubborn defiance, but the damage was relentless. Its shields collapsed, and internal explosions rippled along its length. Finally, with a blinding flash, the flagship's core detonated, the shockwave washing over the battlefield. Silence followed, a brief, stunned pause as both sides registered what had happened. The Vorok fleet, now leaderless and shattered, drifted in disarray. The human fleet, battered but standing, held position. In 30 seconds, the tide of war had turned. The Vorok's reign of terror, their aura of invincibility, was over. Humanity had done the impossible. They hadn't just survived, they had struck back with a vengeance that the galaxy would never forget.